GUTA. 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 If I'm to say 100 times GUTA, they are going to say our business. That's what we represent. We are business people. We are focused in the things of business and nothing else. Your Excellency, my own father, Mate, I've said, you never get to say, and then she amuya yabishia, Urun Munyam for a yenia papa, Ura Dramani, John Mahama. A yadia, me meet me a casse, me who, and I'm a tin Makuma Muse, a 24 afil. Etrese, you can say, you know, organizers no air, you know, no more air restricted to 30. I say, hey, 24 there, yeah, so we share your executives cry now, yeah, 84, and you can say nipper 2 crime from each sector association. Next, a better na nipper 30. But all the same, you the communication to platforms, so and so almost the BR that they will want to come and see you. Means that they've missed you. Now, they don't also forget the fact that our national head office, the secretariat, was given to us by you, your very self. They recognize that and they appreciate. Also, the issue that is so dear to the heart of the traders, being the influx of foreigners, have been a pain for business people across the regions. Now we have all the regions represented here, including WA and all that. They are all crying because of this fact. And we don't also forget the fact that it is during your administration that you revised the investment law from that state that people were abusing it to its present state, and we recognize that. We are among the first group of people who came to visit you at the castle when you became the vice president. And if you remember, your own friend Ofori was there, myself were there, and we talked in details. One thing I observed from that meeting was that you take your time and listen. Your Excellency, you remember that when we were talking about how you were going to finance your Savannah project, we had said that how are you going to finance it? And then we have suggested that you have to go to the edit fund, which is being misused, and that you listen to us. You remember what you said? What say? Small home are doing any baku for trim. What you say? It so Pia would me a casa no who say young normally are near friend ordinary traders. Now ordinary trader with 2 omampeni abedi at that time before no kasa a train ni baku for trim. Next or your listening president. The reason that we are here, in the past, political parties in Ghana have often imposed their manifestos on the people without truly reflecting the concerns and aspirations of the citizens. This unilateral approach has led to a disconnect between the government and the governed, hindering accountability and trust in the political process. As we look to the future, it is imperative that all political parties actively seek and incorporate the input, concerns, and priorities of Ghanaians into the manifestos. By doing so, we can foster greater accountability, transparency, and inclusivity in our democracy, ensuring that the voices of the people are heard and respected on. And this is exactly what Chairman Asidun Ketia said, as if he knew what I was coming to say. That has happened in the past. But every political party is a potential government. And that's why early this year, we have invited all political parties to meet with us so that we put our input into their manifestos to enrich them, so that in case they become government, whatever we are seeking is already factored in their thinking and in their manifesto. I think we couldn't have done anything better. And for the fact that the political parties are also listening to it, shows that we are going on a different way altogether. Especially when we have seen that this year's elections is going to be marked with issues. And the political leaders have started. It started with our own father here, who started with a 24-hour economy program that most of us held to it. And that other political leaders are coming with all manner of strategies. We met with Movement for Change, and they are talking about great transformational agenda where they will transform the economy into industrial base and all that. So, I won't waste, Your Excellency, I won't waste your time, but I will just brush through some of the main concerns of the trading community. I know through your wisdom and the council of your members, you've been able to come out with some solutions. And exactly when we are waiting for the trade committee leader here, you have already talked with him. We are going to meet so that we put our input. I just want to brush through. Cost of doing business in the country is excessively high. When you are clearing goods at the port, because of the numerous taxes, high taxes, not just taxes, high taxes, levies, fees, and charges in the system of clearance. If you look at the port, it numbers about 22. If you look at the other taxes, the corporate taxes and all that, it means that all that Ghanaian businesses have to come to terms with is taxation, which is crippling their efforts to productivity. So, let me give you this analysis. If your import capital is 100,000 Ghana cedis, and you have to import a goods that the duty attracts 20%. Let's say, for instance, electricals is 20%. It means that the 100,000 will have to attract 20% of the duty. And so it will be 20,000, and then it will be added to the 100,000. So the 120,000 is now that we are charging the VAT, because the VAT is a cumulative tax. So we put the 20% on it, and then we charge all the VAT, the straight line one and the NHS, all of them cumulating to about 22%. So cumulatively, this thing goes to about 144,000, your invoice bill. About 44,000, 45,000 have been added on in dollars. Then we have the line of items of about 22. AU levy, ECOWAS levy, COVID levy, special import levy, all of them line up in 22. That cumulates of over about 15%. So what it means is that when you bring goods of $100,000, you have to go and find cumulatively about $55,000 to go and pay your duty. I don't think it is so anywhere in the world, not even in the advanced nations. So how can the poor trader pay this? Those who pay 35% will have to contend with $65,000 that they have to go and pay for duty. It means that we cannot simply do it, and people are just trying to find ways to beat the system. And it is true. And that's why they keep on saying that we are doing undervaluations and all that. Because the system is not conducive for us to do the right thing. And yet most Ghanaians are Christians. And that the tax system is making Ghanaians corrupt. And our integrity level, if you do not go to heaven, it is not our fault. Yes. Because our integrity is impugned by this high rate of taxes. That is why we are very happy when you visited Abusukai, and then you hinted that if God permit, and your very self and your team come to office, you are going to introduce fixed rate of duty. This fixed rate of duty, we do not want it to end at one commodity line of trading. We want it across the board. Your Excellency, I know you are not going to say that you are going to do a pilot with Abusukai people. No, but we have the dollar, which is not pegged, but benchmarked for the purposes of duty payment, which is also not helping us, especially when we do not have a stabilized economy where always our currency is fluctuating. So if we are using dollar as the benchmark for duty purposes, then of course we have to find a way to peg the dollar also, be it quarterly or half yearly, so that we can plan as businesses. As shipping lines, Your Excellency is not helping the cause of this nation. They are taking extortionate fees and levies from us. And illegitimate. Most of them are even illegitimate because we had a fat funding mission in the sub-region, and most of the fees that they are charging here is not being charged in those countries. For that reason, the component of clearing, the fee, the component of clearing charge in duties and payment of duties is about 1% in those countries, whereas that of Ghana is about 5.8%. Because of this illegitimate, because even they have their own dollar rate. I believe you met the GIF. I was supposed to be there. I couldn't come, but I told them to also hint you about that. So that one need to be looked at, and we believe we can use the Ghana Shippers Authority to the law, to enforce their laws, to look at that. Demurrage charges is also way too high, and it's taking a chunk from the country, where we have the shipping lines taking and siphoning away over $1 billion from the shores of Ghana. It means that we could have done better, because those charges are illegitimate, because even the counting of the days are not correct. If somebody have to work for 24 hours and then he closes at 2, he does not come and say that your day has been counted for 1. If there's a holiday, you do not count as a working day. And all this goes into the counting of the days. And it doesn't help us. So what it means is that they are taking undue advantage. They will deliberately frustrate you with all this, and then at the end of the day, your 7 days or 14 days is expired, and then they take huge sums of money. Sometimes it's even bigger than the duty that we pay. So, Your Excellency, I want you to take a note of this. Then also, having gone through this frustrating system, you are unable to clear your goods in time. You have to go searching for money and all that. You are not able to get the money, and so your goods is going to be auctioned. At this stage, they are not going to even consider you in the auctioning processes again. We have the sharks, the hyenas, the vultures, the pythons, who have formed cartel, waiting to swallow our efforts and take what belongs to us. And it's a cartel waiting to consume our little capital. I believe we have to do something to revise the auctioning processes. If even we have to sell to the person at the duty rate, and then payment is staggered for about 3 terms or 3 installments, then of course we know that we are not punishing anybody, and then we are also selling the thing at a reasonable price. Because the price that they sell is peanut. It's negligible. If they have to give to somebody 50,000 for duty and they are auctioning it, sometimes they sell it for 10,000. Yes. Your Excellency, I hope you know that we had a lot of confrontation with the VAT officials. In Kumasi, we had demonstration. Abusokai threatened to go on demonstration. Cape Coast wanted to go on demonstration just a few months ago, all because of how the VAT system is structured. The VAT, if it is well structured and well organized, will get the country so much money that we cannot even consume. But the way the VAT is structured now does not ensure compliance, because one tax system have 3 forms. One form is the standard rate, that you have to pay 22% because of the threshold of 500,000. So if your threshold is beyond 500,000, you have to charge 22%. If your threshold, that's turnover for the year, is below 500,000, it means that you have to pay a flat rate of 4%. And by the same issue of threshold of 200,000, if your threshold or turnover is less than 200,000, you don't have to charge the VAT at all. So there are 3 forms, and we are all confined and compounded in one vicinity of trading. So one trader selling in the same commodity line is charging 22%. Another one is charging 4%. And yet another one is not charging at all in the same vicinity of trading. There's no compulsion on the part of the consumer. Even though VAT is a consumption tax, there should have been compulsion on the part of the consumer to take VAT, so that those of us who have duly registered will have the benefit of the people patronizing our goods. They have discretion, and so they don't buy from us. They buy from those who are not charging the VAT, because they will save 20% or 4%. And yet, the VAT officials will come to our shops and then sit upon our necks and then frustrate us. And that's why mostly we want to go on demonstrations and all that. There should be fairness, parity, and simplicity. That's what brings compliance. The key to revenue enhancement is on compliance and nothing else. And this is the reason why we want the VAT to be looked at and then structured in a manner that will bring uniformity, to bring compliance, to bring fairness, and then we can all comply and the nation will have it with. Now, Having talked about invigilation and all that, having gone through the stress at the port and all that, you've been able go through about 14 processes to get your goods cleared. Then at the tail end of the motorway, you will hear some task force people calling you, or sometime up to Amraga Junction in Kumasi, the task force holding you, or Kubasi, or elsewhere. We are not in a police state, and we should trade, because we shouldn't be in the country that we panic because we are doing trading. Much as the GRA should monitor and then enforce some of these things, it should be done in a more refined way where we can do our business in peace and freedom. And so these things should be looked at in your policies, how you manage the post-clearance audit. They will come 1 year, another 1 year, they will come to you and all that. And so those things should be looked at. The tax collection is centered around just a few of us. And therefore, we plead with you to bring some innovative ways to include a lot more people. Why are we paying so much tax? Because we are just identified. The few are just identified. When government wants money, it's coming to just a few of these people. And that we plead that we find a way, an innovative way, to bring a lot more people into the tax net, so that otherwise the good and potential ones that have been captured into the tax net will not be overburdened for their businesses to collapse, so that the tax will be spread. For instance, we have the painters, mechanics, electricians, welders, masons, and all that. In the construction industry, it's a huge money in the construction industry. So if these people, artisans and all that in these places are taking even 30% of the that industry, we know how much money is going there, and they are not being taxed. So we will plead that the tax system should be expanded to include, and we have a lot of information to give you. Say, government expenditure, normally from what we hear, I think we overprice expenditure. If we overprice expenditure, it means that we still have to go and pay more taxes. So how are we going to ensure value for money on our expenditure? Because if you listen at maybe a project that will be done by MTN at 1 million, it will be done by government by about 4 million. These are the things that we are talking about. And when these things go on, it means that we are still putting the burden on the taxpayer, because whatever tax that have been collected is not being properly maximized and put to use, so that we can have the respite for us also to grow as individuals. The national procurement policy should be strengthened. It should be revised. This, we are very passionate about this. Your Excellency, it is, let me give you this scenario. Energy saving lands have to come in, and then the incandescent bulbs have to give way. And so all the electrical people have gone out there to buy CFL, the energy saving bulbs, and we have brought in quantity. Just around the same time, the government said, okay, we have to use CFL. So we want to go and buy CFL and distribute to households. They bypass the CFL that we brought in thousands of containers. They bypass, and only one person have to be given the contract to go and buy energy saving bulb. When you are in a country that you do not partake in the national cake, it's very painful. So, the national procurement should be looked into and revised to the extent that The one sole sourcing and those things that one person can take at a certain, there should be threshold, so that we can stagger or break them in smaller bulks for so many of us also to partake. Now everybody knows China. Every politician knows China. Every MP knows China. A business will come, instead of come to the market, they go straight to China and bring the goods. And so all the time, the common people, we cannot sell our goods, and we cannot take care of ourselves and our children. So I believe, Your Excellency, you are going to take very good note of this procurement thing, so that the national cake, the share of it, will trickle down to all of us as people and a nation. Thank you. Patronage of Made in Ghana goods. I know this is your passion, because I've heard you talking about the import substitution and all that. And so we are also for the patronage of Made in Ghana goods. If we have the goods in abundance here, there's no need for us to go out there to go and buy. There's no need. First of all, there should be abundance of the goods. And secondly, we should have access to the goods. What have made most people travel outside the country to go and buy goods from outside is that they have suppliers' credit. Some of them will have 120 days, 180 days. In Ghana, our local manufacturers, none of them can give you any suppliers' credit. It's cash and carry basis. And so if you have the thing that is cheaper out there, well packaged, and then price is quality is better, then of course you do not look from within and buy it. So we are saying that, Your Excellency, I think this one we discussed with you during your time, and we didn't proceed. What we have termed the tripod scheme, so that we will develop a fund. For instance, Made in Ghana fund. In the way the EXIM is structured in Turkey and elsewhere, they've put the EXIM bank there, so that if I buy goods from the manufacturer in Turkey, he will apply from the EXIM on my behalf. And so when he applies, they just give the money to him upfront. They give to him an advance. And then I use 120 days to pay for the Turkish manufacturer. In the same vein, we can do it in Ghana, where we can have this tripod scheme, where we have the fund. Maybe, for instance, patronage in Made in Ghana goods fund, or whatever it will be termed. That your manufacturer, when you send your requirement to him, give you the purchase order, and then send it to the bank for the bank to give the money to him, and then we pay the bank. It's a tripod scheme. If we can also adopt that, then of course most of us will patronize Made in Ghana goods. Then we are also talking about a scheme called income in, income out. The income in, income out policy is what we have also designed, that Your Excellency, if you make it a national policy and give the necessary resources and information. Trading is a two-way affair. Trading is buy and sell of goods. So it's not the Ghanaian traders import. They import everything and import even toothpick. That is not the situation. Buy and sell means that we should be able to send goods to our import destinations and then use the proceeds thereof to buy goods from the import destination into the country to shore up our limited foreign exchange. So why are we not doing this? Our forefathers, our mothers, they used to call them kwansokrom. Pacho mo amuhu tete wo mo ko kwanso no. Wo ba no abeje list free wo mebu ana. O ko no di kobi enwo ene eniema bebre ene wo de ko London. Into ono no atoto eniema a wo di free ko London. O ko no ko ton no London honma no abusa yen eniema be na mo pe. No, use fund, no. The scanner will as a result of it. You know, they are top and near mano ediaba. Two-way. Where do we lose? But we do not have the information. We do not know. Maybe Ghana Airport Promotion Authority should do something with this and give us the information as to how the packages should be, how should the quality should be, how the volume and all that is required, the addresses where they buy it, and we are ready to move in the goods from Ghana. We will move the goods because in that case we will better our lot both ways. To the import destination, we get profit, and from the import destination, we get profit. So, Your Excellency, I want you to take note of this, and then I think this one we will sit down with the trade chairman and then give more information to that. Now, inflation, exchange rate, cost of borrowing. These three things are the things that kills industries. And we are in the same position for some time where interest rate is very high. Exchange rate is also going up. And then inflation. Inflation is also high. When it happens, it disturbs the growth of businesses. Because when there's inflation, it means that your turnover is curtailed because your customers do not have the ability to buy much as they would have bought because their purchasing power have gone down. And so all these three things happen to destroy businesses because the exchange rate will make the prices go up. Then inflation will make the consumer not able to buy. And then the cost of borrowing. In this case, the businesses are confused and do not know what to do again. And we want you to know or to address us how you go about this. Then the import substitution that we heard you talking about. Yes, we have to be self-sufficient. We travel all over the world. We go to every country. And we know how countries have developed. Lately, when you go to India, India is over. They are more than Chinese people now. And India produce almost everything that they eat there. And then we also go and buy from them to enrich them. So definitely, we have to make sure that we show up productivity. We make sure that we become self-sufficient. But how do we attain that? How do we get to that? We have to make a conscious effort to prop up or develop the areas that we have comparative advantage because we cannot do everything under the sun. We can only do those that we have advantage. Make sure that we are able to groom them because it should be, Ghana can even be a manufacturer of 4 items, only 4 items. But when those 4 items are the hub of manufacturing in this country, it means that all the West African countries, the countries and all that will come and buy because it's a hub of manufacturing here. Because we have the manufacturing advantage. And so what GUTA have been saying is that we go with the import substitution, no doubt about it, but the processes should be that we should achieve certain threshold of production. And that, if you're able to achieve that threshold of production, for instance, about 70%, then automatically any product that is made in Ghana that achieves that threshold of 70% goes to the import restriction. And we'll go with it. Nigeria was able to shut down their borders and control the importation of rice because at that time they have reached the threshold of over 80%. And that what is left was just negligible for them to achieve. And so I think we are on the same page, but we have to do it well. Because naturally, if products become self-sufficient, we are there to know. Like the floor tiles that is being made here, quality is good, quantity is okay, and we are buying. Biscuit. Now nobody, the Okanshi people, who are the Okanshi people? Most of them have stopped buying, importing biscuits from abroad because the efficiency of production, cost of production, quality itself. There are some biscuits that you eat in Ghana that you would never think that is made in Ghana. Biscuit is already there. Pharmaceuticals, some of them are there. So we look at those ones and then make a conscious effort to prop them up so that they can achieve the threshold that we are talking about. But it cannot be said that a product that we do not have even 10% of capacity of production, then probably because we want to sympathize AGI and their demand and their lobbying, then we add that company that they do not produce. And so we are all for the import substitution. We know that that's the surest way out to ensure and maximize local production so that we become self-sufficient. And Your Excellency, let me give you one thing about your 24-hour economy. I think we had a program at School of Mass Communication. It was live. And I've actually thank you for this. At that time, people were just opposing. I said, no. If even you say that it is already there, there's nothing wrong for us to enhance it. And there's more that we can do in the night. There's more that we can do in the night. There are so many things that are creating nuisance in the afternoon. A lot of them. That when you go to Opera Square, when you go to Cantamanto, when you go to Okanshi, in the afternoon where people are shuttling around, that's where we are offloading our goods. And so it makes the place very congested and can. So, Your Excellency, let's think about the things that create nuisance in the day and put them in the night. So, it shouldn't be difficult for us to say that when you are clearing your goods within the weekdays where market is going on, unless maybe it is Sunday, those times you have to come after 6. Some of these things have been there. And so, Your Excellency, I have a lot, but I will have to end here. And thank you so much for this beautiful